Assalamualaikum and good day. I am Zikri Arif and I will present my progress as of today in this Crit 5. I will be focusing on the facade modulation, the space and building planning, and also the building form that I have explored progressively for this semester's project, polyLAB, a creative makerspace. As from the previous sessions, I have explained thoroughly on the recursive concept and the principle of stellation. Just to recap, stellation is the process of extending a polygon in 2 dimensions, a polyhedron in 3 dimensions, or a polytope in n dimensions to form a new figure in the context of geometry. So based on the experimental models that I have made, new figures could be explored by extending and turning it inside out. So we can see here that the stellation principle has been applied from a cube to a rhombic dodecahedron, and from rhombic dodecahedron turned into the first stellation of rhombic dodecahedron. As from the previous session, I have explored the possibilities of facade modulation extracted from the stellation concept, in which that the tessellated cubes of cube V2 module tessellation has been proven to be more efficient. So we can see that the exploration of the possibilities of pattern that could be implemented into this project, be it for the facade, tile pattern, or even building form ideas. And as we can see, here are the tessellated cube V2 on a plane with variations of aperture opening for daylight penetration. However, from the previous session experimentation, I have found that the complexity of the tessellated cube V2 will not be as efficient for fabrication and installation during the construction, and also the complexity of this cube V2 does not allow the luxury of outdoor view when it is viewed from an inside space. So with that, I tried to convert the tessellated cube V2 modulation into 2D mesh, and in which that we can see the modules are forming 2 main shapes, which is the hexagons and triangles. So in short, the tessellation of regular triangles can form recursive shapes when it is colored in this yellow and pink as shown in the slides. Then I tried to break it down even more and found that the mesh is made up from 60° and 30° angle lines. So with using the additional rule of 45° angle, I can form a new facade module, and I name it as Tetra V1. So with that, I tried to play around with the height and the width of the single module, and I have found that the modified Tetra V2 module, which can be seen on the slides, is giving me the flexibility and somehow a proper dimension, as one of the objectives for my building space planning is to have a 5 meters floor to floor height. So we can see in this slide that I have experimented with a facade form to create an undulating look from afar. So the strategy of the facade transformation is to have a maximum of 500 mm protrusion from the original vertical plane. So this Tetra V2 module will have 2 parts, in which that the top part is the responsive envelope, and the bottom part is still maintaining the silhouette of the previous cube V2 module that I have explored in the previous session. Also, the bottom part of this module will be permanently static, as I would like to maintain the intention of receiving the outdoor view when it is viewed from behind the module in a space. Also, in this experimentation, I have tried to integrate the facade modulation on one of the spaces of the building, particularly to all the classrooms. So, and we can see that from this simple render, the facade will create an interesting shadow cast when it is viewed from inside. So this view is set at 4 PM on the month of March. So where this classroom will receive the harsh daylight from the sun. And here's just another view of another classroom. So this facade configuration will be tested in Daylight Visualizer for the efficiency on the next session. Moving on to the building programs of polyLAB, I have created two prominent group of zones, the communal and makerspace group. So as for communal, we do have a specific zone for it, in which it will house a large display gallery and multipurpose area. As for the makerspace, we have 5 distinctive zones, which is the collaborative zone, informal breakout zone, digital literacy zone, small group zone, and the makerspace zone. So we can see that the highlighted ones are the proposed space that will have the priority and the benefit of being at the western side with the daylight responsive facade that I have simulated in the previous session. Ground floor, the heart of the building. So I have tried to put important spaces at this level. So we can see that there are 3 zones, which is the communal zone, work zone, and play zone. So if we recap back to the work and play concept approach, the work zone is focusing more on the economic cycle, where we will have buying, learning, and teaching activities, while the play zone will focus more on the social cycle, where there will be discussions, meetings, and informal activities of learning. And for the communal zone, we do have the convenience store and dining area at the front end, where this will attract the public from the building itself or the passers-by from the Punggol station. And the main event space is located deep inside the building. So for the work zone, we will have installation and presentation space and open interactive gallery. So wood lab and metal lab is situated close to the front facing facade to give the idea and the experience of what this building is about, a creative makerspace. So these labs will be in a glass room as a display for the building when they are working inside, or to show the process of making. Basement 1, for the public parking, there is a location of parking spaces at this basement level with ample parking for the users, and also the loading bays are located at this level also. So back to the upper floors. On the level 1, we can see a viewing deck extended to capture the view from the event space. So we can see that the rest of the main makerspace zone, the textile lab, the laser lab, and the work lab, is situated near to the north entrance, as these spaces will have high footfall from the pedestrian. For level 2, we have open classrooms and digital labs. The open classrooms will have direct view towards the installation and presentation space at the ground floor. So level 3, we will have open classrooms and indoor gallery, and also a photo lab. So further up, we can see that the north end will have administration offices, and the west end will have classrooms. And lastly, on level 5, we will have surau and a classroom, and the final level of the plant level will house a plant room for the building and the development. So we can see in this longitudinal sectional perspective of this building, where the big canopy is the roof that is covering the installation and presentation space at the ground floor. And direct and welcoming vibe was designed in mind, as this is the most interesting area of this building, where the canopy can be extruded out, just like the concept of stellation, where another space could be created, could be expanded, and could be transformed from a space. And here's another view of the section where the big event space at the far right is where the space planning starts, the initial point. From a basic cube transform into another dimension of spaces throughout the building. Yep, an aerial view of the proposed building where the shape and the form of this building is breaking the monotonous building blocks of the HDB residentials surrounding it. And lastly, here's the simulation of the transformable space of the canopy just above the installation and presentation space, where it can be moved, it can be transformed, the space, like weekends or any day that a big event will be held here. So I guess that's about it. Thank you.